Hi, everybody. Welcome to another preview edition from PW Torch and me, your host, Tyler Sage at Ring of Tyler. Welcome as we preview the AEW Dynamite episode on March 8th, 2023. This is our Fallout episode from AEW Revolution, a much praised pay-per-view. Very excited to talk with Zach tomorrow about my thoughts on the match itself, or the pay-per-view itself, I should say. But yeah, welcome. If you're watching live, thank you very much. If you're watching on delay, thank you as well. Please always hit that like, subscribe, bell, all that good stuff. We got me, we got Zach, we got Stephanie on the channel. So I think Zach is dabbling in shorts now, so I should be getting into that as well. So if you want hot take reactions on things, then that's exciting. Not tonight. I'll be doing the live report for Dynamite, and then I'll be joining Wade Keller on the post show. So if any of you are watching, hi Sean and Hazan, good to see both of you. I will pop that up, and yes, Hazan, you must have seen my notes here. Yes, please check out Wade's new channel as well. He has popped on there and blown up a little bit. It's Wade Keller, right? So you get to watch and see what he's doing. But from nothing to, I think he's got a few hundred followers already, or subscribers on there already. So always appreciate checking him out, as he is the Don of the PW Torch Mafia. So put respect on his name, as they say. So let's too cold for shorts. Steven is too cold for shorts. Well, yeah, you're in the UK, Stephen, right? It's always funny, not to go too tangent, but I usually watch EPL matches on Saturday, and Sunday sometimes. But the announcers will be like, "It's an absolutely frigid day today." Sorry for my bad accent. And I check the weather in in Leicester or in Newcastle, what have you, and it's like 49 degrees or something. I'm like, oh. That's like a balmy, nice day here in parts of the States. So anyway, that's done with my tangent. Let's talk Dynamite tonight. And so yeah, we've got a lot going on. Per the match card and who's talking, it seems like some of the more impactful stuff is not scheduled to be talked about. So that being, the Elite losing their titles to the House of Black. They're not mentioned on the show. You've got Jack Perry burying. Sorry, I saw Steven's thing here. Yeah, 7-0. That's a pretty good weekend, I would say, Steven. So, but yeah, so Jack Perry burying Christian Cage. Neither of them are reported to be talking. Obviously, MJF or Danielson are not scheduled to talk. Any of those people can come out and be a surprise here. I also thought this was our Adam Cole return date, but I think that's next week, actually, leading into the show. So, not the biggest star potential. I'd say the only big thing is we've got Moxley in action, and we've got Hangman talking. We also have Ricky Starks talking. So some fallout there. We also have Ruby in action. So I would say from that mid-tier, and I would say Moxley, Page was top tier for me at this point on the show. So that's exciting to see what that goes there. But we'll talk about all those. But, I think a little underwhelming from hey, you got to watch the show and then immediately watch. You have to watch Wednesday after watching the pay-per-view. Feels like it's a little bit WCW-ish, where we're trying more to sell the replay than act on what happened the night before. For example, the famous Bash of the Beach '96, and the next day for Nitro, there was a very brief mention of it, and it was not said what happened. And I told you to kind of go back and buy it. So it's just interesting with the change of media and how things are done. That is a little bit the thing there. But let's jump into the show. We've got 2 title matches. I think we will probably open and close with both of these matches. So opening, Tony Khan has been pushing this. I still think it opens. It's either the Mox Claudio match or it's this match. So we'll talk about this match first. We got Orange Cassidy taking on Jay Lethal for the All-Atlantic title. And I see you guys are in the chat big time here as I did my diatribe. So hopefully we'll kind of we'll talk about all this stuff. So we'll get there, and I'll try and pull it up as I go. I'm not the world's greatest multitasker, but we got Orange Cassidy and Jay Lethal. Tony Khan has a tweet. You can go look it up. Or I think he claimed it was like the most watched AEW match of all time, or maybe of last year. And it's a big box office must see. They're 1-1, all that sort of stuff. So interesting. The booking of. I think Tony Khan's definitely taking more the Dana White approach to booking than the Vince McMahon way of booking. We're telling stories on the screen and more so like, hey, the sports feel thing, all that sort of stuff, which is, either like one or the other, right? And I think I obviously like more the Vince McMahon style of like storytelling it there. But for something like this, I think Tony Khan pitching it the way he is, I think it works for adding just a little bit of sizzle to this match that should be really good. But it's someone that they fought in at the pay-per-view. That would be the WWE Vince McMahon style of telling the stories. That this is the backlash to that, but having it be here and have it be like sort of that UFC, the rubber match in a UFC fight between a series of guys is I think it's totally fine. I think this match, should be really well worked. Looking at the card, I think that and the other title match are going to be really good, well worked singles matches. So I'm excited for it. Is there more shenanigans at the end? Does Danhausen come in and get more of a featured role after he was on the pay-per-view? Does this lead to Orange and Danhausen taking on Lethal and Jarrett together? Those sort of things. I'm, as you can tell in the way my voice trailed off, a little less excited than just having a good match here, but we'll see. But I'm going to go with Orange Cassidy to retain here. But when it comes to Jay Lethal and surprise wins, I think there's not many more people that have had surprise wins in AEW than Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett. I guess you can put on that bandwagon as well. So just be mentally prepared. I think like Jay Lethal's the antithesis of Darby Allin, who Darby loses a lot of matches that he probably shouldn't. It seems like Lethal wins a lot of matches that he probably shouldn't from a like where they are trajectory wise. So we'll see. I'm going to go with Cassidy personally. I think it should be a well-worked match. Hopefully it doesn't lead to a bunch of BS at the end of it, that it gets resolved in some triple threat match on Rampage, but we'll see. So I think it should be a solid opener. That or this other match would be the opener. That'd be John Moxley and Claudio taking on John Silver and Alex Reynolds. So, I'm excited, to see Moxley and Claudio as a tag team. That's the best version of BCC if Danielson and Moxley is not going to be a tag team, which is obviously the best option you can have there. But it is, I'm not excited about it because it seems like if we're not going to do the OG AEW women versus the outside AEW women in a blood and guts match, with this match here, and I hope I'm wrong, it seems like it'd be more of a BCC versus Hangman and Dark Order. And, that story's been justified for what they're doing. And, the amount of blood in the Evil Uno match and just like the story with Hangman and all that. But, I just don't think it is a Danielson, Moxley, Claudio, Yuta versus a Hangman, Silver, Reynolds, and Uno. Does not feel like a very good like 1-for-1 in the matchup there, right? It's like two blue chips versus one blue chip, and then you have Claudio's like a world champion, and Yuta is Yuta. So anyway, I just hope it's not going there, and that's like I think this match should be good. I'm excited to see Silver and Reynolds if they can be more serious, like Uno has been and like Moxley has been with, and Hangman has been. Sorry for reading slip. Zach, I hope you're correct. But that's just my like worry seeing this booking. So I do hope you are correct in that way. But and Hassan, this like him getting gold again, like setting him up against potentially FTR at a pay-per-view or whatever. So if FTR are leaving, and we'll talk about that coming up here as well, because they're not scheduled to talk either, which is very strange. Or the Guns, which is another big moment for the pay-per-view. FTR not scheduled to talk. They probably should have a match, whatever. It's interesting. But, if we're going here just to solidify that Moxley and Claudio are a, tag team, going for the tag team titles and winning a match here, and it makes Hangman upset, whatever. That is all good booking, and that's where I'm hoping it goes. I just hope it's not for that other thing. But I obviously see Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli getting the win tonight. And this could also open, as I said many times. So Mox opening is usually a pretty good recipe. And I think he would be especially aggressive and pissed off versus Hangman's friends here. And I think we probably hear Hangman right after the match, right? Comes out, makes the save, calls out Moxley. And, we'll see. So I'm excited. This has a lot of potential to be a winner of the evening for me personally. So let's go to the other title match. We've got new TNT champion Wardlow taking on Powerhouse Hobbs. So, obviously Joe is going to be more of a Ring of Honor person. And, we'll see how it goes here. It doesn't feel like they're going to hotshot the title here and give it to Hobbs, which I think would be the better option for me, unless it's a renewed hope and a consistent booking decision with Wardlow. I mean, I don't, bell to bell, I think Wardlow's proven himself beyond a guy who I had big hesitations on, of basically for a year just doing powerbomb symphonies on local talent. But the last, 3 or 4 big time matches he's had, he's delivered, is super athletic, is a good worker. It's just, it doesn't feel like he or AEW knows what to do with his character, tweaking it enough to make him a big deal like he was before. Feels like, I don't know if you need to have him against MJF and have MJF beat him, but that's, is that more valuable to AEW right now than building up Wardlow? Probably. But, is this, when did, I did not know this. When did this happen? Apparently, like you're all telling me here, that Hassan and Steve said that he lost the TNT belt. So, hey, they've made 17 versions of this thing. It seems like Tony Khan has like 2 in his briefcase, just in case, with how many different versions of that belt has been made. So we'll see. And if not, they'll build in the storyline, I'm sure. So, not great. I mean, Jericho, you guys were all both saying last night, so there you go. See how up to date I am on that. But Jericho losing that title when he first won it was a pretty embarrassing story, but it doesn't happen a lot in wrestling. So very interesting. We'll see what happens. But at this point, I would prefer a run with Hobbs here, even though it's like a similar style run that we saw with Joe in the TNT title, especially, but also. The world title definitely bounces back and forth between a heel run and a face run. And that feels outside Tony Khan's booking pattern to have Hobbs win here. But, I think there's a chance that Hobbs can win here and be kind of a little bit of a hot shot on the title, and have him go on a little bit of a run, taking on smaller guys. And I think that has more upside for me personally. But, if they decide to keep it on Wardlow, I'm not upset with that. I just want to see more consistency with him and his character, and not just have him come out, throw security guys around, and then have an athletic match and not really have much of a character. So that's where I am right now. So, and I think, Hobbs hasn't gotten a ton of time to show character as well, but at least he's made a change since we've seen him on AEW television, from being the, happy to be there young upstart to joining Team Taz, and then turning again on his Team Taz friends and all that sort of stuff. So at least he's had arcs, and Wardlow's kind of just been a guy who has had kind of harebrained stories start to finish. So, and not even his fault, just like his contract is owned by MJF and all that sort of stuff. So, I think he's been hurt a lot by the booking, more so than maybe, no, I don't want to say that. I'm sure you guys would have 15 options of who got hurt more by booking than that. So I'm going to leave off of that as I think about it. So we got that. So I think that main event, TNT titles main evented basically every opportunity that it's every time it's been fought for, in the last year, it seems it's been the main event of the show. So I would be surprised if it is not at this point. And, it's going to be a 10-minute match, so you can go over on lots of segments and it's a win-win from a logistics standpoint as well. So, okay, let's talk now about Ruby Soho. She's in action. She's taking on Sky Blue. I think it will not be a squash match by any stretch of the imagination, but this will probably be a, first 2-3 minutes of the match, commercial break, last 2-3 minutes of the match. So not going to be a lot from an in-ring standpoint for the TV audience, but I think that this is an opportunity for Ruby to kind of give her little mission, her mission statement on why she did what she did on Sunday. And yeah, well, Sean, I agree it needs to be a squash, but they definitely see something in Sky Blue and have had her be super competitive with people way above her on the card without really utilizing it. So that's the only reason I say that. But yeah, at least we all agree it should be a squash. Maybe Tony Khan, if you're watching, please make it a squash and give Ruby more mic time than, being competitive with Sky Blue. So, but, I want to hear why Ruby decided to do what she did. This could be like, I think we've all laid out our cases and it's been kind of brought up on AEW television, but making it clear, like this is, people from the outside, definitely don't say WWE, coming together to make this division that was not good, that was struggling. We came in, we energized, we made it the best women's wrestling division in the world since we've come here, all that sort of stuff. Very low-hanging fruit, very heel, all that sort of stuff. I just hope that's like her mission statement. That's why she did it, why she aligned with Tony and Saraya, all that stuff. And then, it should be a slam dunk tonight, and I hope it is. And, also I'd love to know why her and Saraya didn't team up in the middle of that match and make sure one of them won. But I'll leave that for the post show with Wade when we do our analysis, because that was one of the more idiotic from a kayfabe standpoint things I've seen in a long time in wrestling. So I'm sure you guys might have a rebuttal here, but that was a hard thing for me to get past watching it live. So if there's, honestly, just push through it. Don't even talk about it, because if they try and retcon it like they do with lots of things in AEW, I think it's going to be a net negative. But just say us versus them. We're bad guys. They're the good guys. Let's just make it clear as day for everybody so that that argument is not agreed. And Zach, I think that is the most, that's not retconning it in the look in Ruby's eyes. I could see that, especially if you replay it for the audience. But if that's the case, kind of bring that up a little bit tonight that she realized she needed to team up with them or whatever, we'll make it a heel way. But yeah, hopefully that's the case. So, so there you go. So there's that. I think more about that promo, the state of the women's division, etc. So I'm excited. And yeah, Hazan too. That's a good point. Yeah, it'd be like Jay Coss and Jimmy, and then that paying off ultimately as the turn on Sammy, which was excellent. So, okay. So let's talk. We've got one other match. So there's 5 matches booked. And if there's another one, please let me know. But it seems like there's going to be 6 with some sort of squash match, or we'll have a long promo, and this could have a long promo afterwards as well. But we've got the JAS. I think it's Jericho and Guevara and Garcia. Could be, if you guys know off the top of your head, let me know. I just know it's Jericho and 2 friends taking on Top Flight and AR Fox. Definitely feels like a time filler. Yes, it's a trios match, and have Top Flight and Fox put on a show while they get caught by members of JAS, and Sammy can go as well. But it feels like an easy win for JAS to give Jericho some heat back. Maybe they will establish who they are targeting next or what's going on with that group, because Jericho's been losing a lot. If you want to retain something there, then okay, thanks, Zach. Then I think he definitely does need to get a win. Jericho still is Teflon, but He's lost a lot in recent weeks, so I don't know who you put him against, but Jericho's got to definitely get some wins, I would say. And so singles wins, probably Action Andretti, honestly, would be a good pick. But so we'll see. But should be a good match when you have Guevara and both Martin Brothers and AR Fox. Like, should be a pretty good high flying match. Yeah, I think and setting them up too. Yeah, I think that's a good that's good booking. Setting up JAS versus the House of Black for a main event of a branded Dynamite feels very much in line. I mean, look at the date. We are 8 weeks from the next pay-per-view, so probably have like a 2 to 3, maybe even 4 week period where we have build up to a big show, and then we'll build again for Double or Nothing. So that feels like the right thing for trios. Tag title in a week or two. So I like that a lot. And we'll see what happens. But so that's that. And then also, we're talking about Hangman. He's going to be talking, but I assume that's going to be after the Mox Claudio match against Silver and Reynolds. And so that should happen there. I'm curious to see the crowd reaction in Sacramento to Hangman. That was a huge win for him and his character. And is the crowd going to embrace him even at a 80% clip that they were at the peak of Cowboy shit era of Hangman? I'm very curious to see that. Steve, I'm going to bring this up real quick. So no St. Patrick's Slam next week. Tony's doesn't seem to be promoting shows that are branded with titles. If you guys have noticed that, it's just kind of been shows that have bigger cards but aren't branded with a title. I think that was the diminishing returns happened with that, but could totally see that. It also feels like St. Patrick's Slam, the two wrestlers that are tied to that event are Britt and Thunder Rosa. If Thunder Rosa is healthy, then that seems like a good debut for her, and that would be you could have unwilling allies on that AEW original team with her and Britt, which would be interesting. So I like that a lot. Hopefully that does happen. But yeah. And then also one other thing I left on here that was announced recently, we have Ricky Starks who's going to be talking. So I'm curious who you guys have paired with him coming up next. It feels again like before the pay-per-view that he needs some sort of mid-level heel to take on. Is that a Ethan Page type, or is there someone more elevated than him? Like I can totally see him like running through, not being the legend killer, but like him and Christian Cage at the next pay-per-view makes a ton of sense to me from like the style that they work in keeping Starks fresh for a, as he's made the claim that he wants another title shot against MJF. And I think that's kind of the plan. Ricky and Rich, that would be a good intermediate thing. So there's lots of good heels at that level for Ricky, and I'm curious to see who comes out and gets in his face. I just hope, and this is the one thing AEW is really, really good at, is comboing two people that just work, and you get excited. It's like, oh yeah, I want to see them wrestle. And I don't think Christian's necessarily that for Ricky, but when it was first Jericho and Ricky Starks, I thought that was A, exciting, and B, like showed the, that Ricky was finally in that moment to shine and be a single star, which was very exciting. And that's like, that's one I wouldn't have thought of Hazan, but Hangman and Strickland. I mean, that's a match I would be very excited to see, and we'll see what happens. But we also got to think in the perspective, as Zach and I talk about a lot on the Thursday show, is who's next for MJF, right? It could be a rematch with Danielson, it could be the in-between. But the other baby faces, obviously Cole is going to build up pretty strongly here, probably have a match not against MJF at the pay-per-view. So does that leave Hangman? Does that leave Starks? It feels like if you think about it, you can have whatever order you want, but it feels like a Hangman, Starks, Cole, and Cole gets it off of MJF. Or you could flip it if you really want to run with Starks, especially if you can get that contract long-term contract settled if that hasn't been. Then you flip it, you do Cole and then Starks. But yeah, I think those are the three guys, obviously, to have big title matches with MJF after Danielson. But we'll see. People have risen and fallen from that position. So if that is continued here tonight, and do you guys think we'll hear from MJF? It could be him doing a promo backstage. They could show him eating the pickles, looking like CM Punk, all that sort of stuff. And also, are we officially? As I'll leave you guys with this, are we officially on Punk Watch, especially if FTR stick around, which we will see. But Punk's injury was like a 9-month injury that happened back in early September. So if my math is correct, we are getting dangerously close to him being healthy. So just something to keep an eye on. We've got Double or Nothing, the main event there. Something could happen. And then if that doesn't happen there, going through Forbidden Door 2, and right after that, like, stuff could happen. So just be mentally prepared. I'm not saying I'm reporting anything, but just be on CM Punk is back watch. I think it could totally happen. And I'm loving the fantasy booking, literally, of Keith Lee as a wizard. I think that would be very good stuff. And he'd probably get more TV time, not on Rampage, if he did a wizard gimmick. But that's neither here nor there. So thank you, everyone, for joining me as always. Make sure you check Zach and I out tomorrow. Wade stuff, all that sort of stuff. That's a lot of content, I know. I appreciate you watching what you watch. And again, I'll be on the post show with Wade tonight. So if any of you call in, please say hi and shout out the YouTube channel for me. And until tomorrow or tonight, if you call in or listen, I will see you guys later. And